Buenos días.
Buenos días.
Good morning.
Muchas gracias por la oportunidad de compartir con ustedes.
Thank you for the opportunity to share with you this morning.
We are Terry and Helen Vanderwerf, as Paul mentioned, serving in Mexico with Fellowship International Mission. We've had a great privilege, and I really mean that, by the grace of God, to be able to serve in Mexico now a little over 3 decades.
That's great.
This is our little family as we started out in 1991 in language school in Costa Rica. Today, this is us. 3 children, 3 spouses,
Wow.
and 8 grandchildren.
Nice.
We live in the city of Puebla, surrounded by 4 volcanoes, one which is active, and it's a large city. It's over 3 million people, and it's located a couple hours southeast of Mexico City. God is at work in Mexico, and we can say that from personal testimony, 30 years. But the gospel, as you look at numbers, has grown exponentially in the past 50 years. In fact, you'll see ministries that we've had the privilege of being involved in, and you see the numbers, and that's a reflection of this growth.
We envision transformed lives of many young people who will impact churches in Puebla and in central Mexico.
God has called us to use theological and musical training to empower future church leaders and missionaries. And basically, our 3 main ministries that we're involved in, one would be a national music camp, which we organize and direct each summer. In fact, Saturday we head back and we'll be working hard on the plans for this year. And around 200 young people every summer come for training, discipleship in this camp, 10-day camp, where everybody, teachers, counselors, kids, we all live together during that time. And it's been a great ministry for us. In fact, 2 of our 3 children met their spouses at this camp. A second ministry we're involved in is the Puebla Bible Seminary. Not a large seminary, but still a strategic ministry, training up people who've committed their lives to serve God in Mexico and as missionaries. A unique ministry that God opened the door for, was not our plan when we went to Mexico, was through music. And we've had the privilege of working with this evangelical choir in Puebla. Here you see over 400 people on stage representing between 50 and 60 local churches. And the gospel is presented through music, but as well as through the spoken word during these outreach concerts. We would like to invite you to be a part of what God is doing. As I mentioned, Saturday we head back. We've been there 30 years, but we're not done. And by God's grace, we're planning to continue on what we've been doing. And ways which people and you yourselves can be involved is through prayer. Whether it's outreach in our neighborhood, in our home, or through these large ministries that God has allowed us to be a part of. Also, the finances. To do a project like that is not cheap. The camps that we do that. So we encourage and are looking for people to join with us and make these ministries possible. A final way is just coming down. Whether it be a visit, short-term work, or long-term service. There's still a lot to do in Mexico, and it's exciting what God is doing down there. God has called us to step out in our context, in our lives, by faith to serve Him. And 30 years ago, a little bit more, I was serving in a church in Michigan, and we sensed God's call in our life. And when we announced that to the church, I remember a lady coming up afterwards, and she said to us, she said, "Why are you going to Mexico?" I said, "You're going to waste your musical talent." And we weren't going to Mexico for music. That was not in our original plan. But we just answered her, we just sensed God leading us, and we have to step out. And in God's providence, as we look back on those 30 years, we have He has used us in music, interesting enough, in ways which we probably never would have had here in the U.S. So it's been an incredible journey that God has allowed. Let us close our time with you, giving you an excerpt of one of these concerts, just a little part of the song, How Great Is Our God.